Hello and welcome TechnoFunda investors. Today we are going to discuss about a proxy theme, a hidden theme which is compounding and growing and only accelerating from here in terms of its profit, the way it is catering to the entire industry and the way it is building profit pools. So today we are going to discuss about a sector which is a beneficiary of automobile. And if you see cars and two-wheelers and EVs and everything is like a big mega trend around us. And there is a silent sector, a proxy of this automobile sector, which is auto ancillary theme that is playing silently and making wealth for investors since long time and continues to do so. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about some of the opportunities which are there in this sector, how this entire sector is actually doing a playbook. We are literally going to decode the playbook and how secretly they've been increasing the profits and margins and growing continuously. I am going to dissect that for all of you. And most importantly, we are going to do a TechnoFunda analysis of certain auto ancillary stocks and trying to understand what are the triggers, how they are panning out, and how it can unfold in future. So let's dive in inside this yet another powerful session on auto ancillary theme, which is a mega trend, and let's jump into it. All right, so if you want to actually grow your money, you need to invest in a sector which is actually continuously growing, and you need to do a deep dive analysis of a sector so that you can identify strong opportunities in that sector, and then you can compound and ride it for a very long period of time. So today's session, as I mentioned, we are going to go deeper into a proxy of automobile sector, which is auto ancillary, and we are going to decode exactly this, like how you can benefit as an investor, what should be your thought process, how to identify ideas, how to research about different companies, and what should be the overall thought process. So this is the hidden proxy theme which is going beyond 2025. This is a quick SEBI disclaimer. Since we are SEBI registered research analysts, I want to just share a quick update with all of you. Let's first understand what has changed in this sector. And if you think about it, there were two big boosters that has actually accelerated the growth in this sector. The first very important boost that has happened is last year there was a tax, which was slab was moved to 12 lakh, up to which there is no tax for a personal income tax. And then finally, recently we saw GST reforms, and I went very deep into this. So if you have not watched this video, please check it out on my channel. Still, it is very relevant. So GST reforms and what are the sectors which are going to benefit. So what happened is, earlier automobile sector was considered like a sin product, which means it was taxed around 28% earlier. And then government realized, hey, this is too much, and because of that the consumption took a hit, and automobile sector was actually not growing the way it should have been growing. So the tax has now got reduced from 28% to 18%, and that is again triggered a lot of opportunities in this sector. So what we will try to understand is what are the kind of opportunities here, and something drastic happened recently. Okay, if you see this data point, okay, Maruti Suzuki on day one after this GST cut was applicable, they had 80,000 inquiries and 25,000 cars delivered in a single day. That's massive. And their bookings actually surged 75,000 in a single day, and delivery is set to hit around 30,000 soon. And solid demand for small cars has also started, and it is up nearly 50%. Hyundai, which is another automobile company, they saw around 11,000 billings in a day, which was highest ever in the history of the company. So this is the kind of massive shift that is happening in the auto industry, and the entire industry, trust me, has got overwhelmed by the kind of response they were getting, and probably the customers were also waiting for this to happen. Now, this is where the fun lies, and that is where the story unfolds in a big way, because this entire automobile sector is basically going to get benefited out of this. And one of the powerful beneficiary of this, the hidden value story, is, not what everyone sees, but what it is inside this car, right? So if you see inside the car, there are different components, like there are tires, wheels, then horn, then there are lights, cameras, filtration system, there is seating system, there is fuel caps, there is a steering system. Lot of these systems are actually making this entire automobile. So it is not about what we see here in this car, but it is what is inside it. That is what really matters. And this is where, uh, inside this auto ancillary play, if you see, they have higher leverage, they have higher margins, and they have a lot of stickiness with the OEMs, because once the model is set, once the car is made, once it starts scaling, it's extremely difficult for the OEMs to find a different partner, a different supplier, and it's a very long-term game. So if you see the growth of auto components market in India, it has been growing at a very healthy CAGR of 18%. And if you see the overall industry has highest ever turnover of 74.1 million billion dollar, right? That is where we are going through. And if you see the kind of trajectory with which we are growing is simply just amazing in its own way. So if you see, there are different growth triggers. So you have auto components expert, which is there. The overall Indian auto component industry is going forward, and we are growing at a very healthy rate of 18% CAGR. So that is the story so far, what is going on and why this is happening. There are multiple triggers why this is happening. So if you see, the first trigger is actually premiumization. So premiumization has been a very strong trend. I recently did a video also on premiumization. People want to buy more and more premium cars. And if you see, recently I also made a video on what is this premiumization, what all sectors are getting benefited out of this. But one of the most important sector which is getting benefited out of premiumization is automobile sector. And if you see the kind of bike which people are buying, the CCs are slowly increasing. So earlier it was 100 cc, now it is 125 cc, 150 cc, even all the way up to 350 cc. So if you see companies like Eicher Motor, they've been expanding really nicely. Their stock price is going all-time high. I'm a proud shareholder of Eicher Motors as such. And if you see, even in the car segment, the SUV shares has been going very high, and even there the premiumization is at play. So earlier we had i10 and smaller cars, Maruti smaller models which were there. Now you no more see all those things. We see the proportion of the cars are mostly now going in the premiumization size, and a lot of them are actually SUVs kind of car that are playing up, right? So the bigger cars, more premium cars are the game that is happening right now. Another thing which is playing out is stringent regulation. So if you see, regulator has been pushing all the car companies because of pollution and a lot of safety norms. They've been pushing car companies to go higher and higher in terms of standards. And that means automatically the upgradation goes to the auto ancillary also. And these OEMs are forced to buy premium, more stringent, more regulated products from their auto ancillary players, and that gives a really good boost to auto ancillary players. The third very powerful shift that is happening is a shift in terms of EV cars. So if you have seen, like, the overall trend is towards more and more EV side of the things, and that is one of the more faster trigger where the adoption is happening very fast, particularly in the two-wheeler space. And last but not the least is the overall drive towards internationalization, where we are focusing on exports. And even a lot of these car manufacturing companies are trying to procure more and more parts in-house, because that is where they have more stability in terms of supply chain, and there is much lesser disruption because of all the tariff and lot of these COVID, lot of events actually triggered more of localization of procurement also. So these, together are actually putting the trigger. Now, I'm not going too deep inside it, although there are some powerful points on the PPT for this presentation. But if you want to like really get a gist of it and download of it, you can just scan this QR code, get a download of this PPT, and at leisure you can read all these things, because these are very powerful things which I have shared. And alternatively, what you can even do is, as usual, you can go to this link, autoplay link, and you can even download this presentation. Okay, so let's move forward. Now, what is the playbook? The playbook of any auto ancillary play is they actually play on economies of scale, because this entire space of automobile ancillary is very, very cost sensitive. OEMs wants to squeeze as much as possible. So what these players do is they try to have economies of scale. They want to procure the raw material at the least possible way. They want to scale it higher. They want to make sure that they make maximum number of components, and that is what is the playbook inside this entire space, is how you can actually increase something called as kit value. What is kit value? Kit value is how many components out of this entire two-wheeler or four-wheeler you can provide to your OEM, and that can actually give you an unfair advantage versus your competition, because now, one, you have a higher reliance on multiple parts with your OEM partner, and second, you have cracked the code in terms of increasing your margins and having so many components inside a car or an automobile. And that is what most of these automobile players have been able to do. This is what is the playbook they have done. So first, what they will do is they will pick up one segment. Like, let's go here, right? So wheel could be one segment. So let me just pick up my pointer and show it to you. So first, what they will do is they will pick up wheel, and then they will have different parts around the wheel, and they will try to increase the kit value. Then let's say they want to crack the seating system. So first they will have a seat cover, then they can go further, and then they can have some safety related things for the seats, seat belts, and so on and so forth, and they can keep expanding their portfolio. Next, they might go to the steering system, and initially they might be just giving a steering wheel, and then they might be expanding into other different things, and then the shaft and the gears, and so on and so forth. So the idea is, as I have shown in this playbook, they first pick up one of the categories. Okay, so what they do is first pick up one category. What could be the category? So new segment could be either wheels, or it could be seat, or it could be the front part of the car, or it could be the engine of the car. And then they keep adding more and more related products. Like if they have selected wheel, then anything around wheel they will select, and they will have all these products coming in. If they have selected steering system, all the products related to steering system. If they have selected lighting system, all the things related to lighting system will fall here. And then they will select, say, horns, and all the things related to horn, they will start expanding it. So this is the playbook which some of the best ancillary players in India have been playing, because of which they've been able to increase the wallet share, which means the amount of business they get from these auto ancillary, they've been able to expand. And more important than that, they've been able to have economies of scale, they've been able to increase the margin, they've been able to increase the stickiness with the customer, and hence they have been able to predictably grow for a very, very long period of time. So let's now try to understand who are the beneficiary of these kind of maximization of kit value in this playbook, how they have played it, and as an investor, what are the opportunities that are lying for you. So let's dive deep into this, and it's going to be crazy important. So what you should be looking for in any company which you want to invest in auto ancillary. So the first thing which you should look is is this company increasing the kit value with the OEM? So OEMs are your Maruti, Eicher Motor, Hyundai of the world. Are these companies year after year increasing the total amount of products given to one particular car or a automobile or a two-wheeler which is being produced by these OEMs? What is the kit value? Is this increasing? Second is, it is a very sticky business. So if you are able to crack new customers, like say for example, you have a client called M&M, you have a client called Maruti, and then you crack Tata Motors. It's a whole new world of opportunity that opens up if you are able to win new customers, right? So is that happening? You should check out for that. Third is this company playing on premiumization? Okay, this is again very, very important. Is this company actually playing on premiumization? If yes, then they have again unfair advantage versus other players, because then they can actually grow much faster and they can predictably increase their margins as well. So that is the third thing which you should be looking for in the auto ancillary space. The fourth thing which you can focus on is whether the products which they are manufacturing are engine agnostic, meaning right now there is a big disruption happening. As I said, a lot of EV cars are in focus, and if your product is say piston, which is core component of a ICE engine, which is your internal combustion engine, if it is a piston ring, if it is a piston cushion, if it is a piston what do you say, compressor, all these things are extremely dependent on internal combustion engine. If your company is actually there, it is prone to disruption. So if the components are like horn, or like lighting system, or power system, or something like wheel alloys, those are kind of products which are not associated with EV disruption. So think about that. Second, very important point here is JV and partnership. See, these technology, what these auto ancillary players are building, it's very niche technology, very sophisticated technology, and some of these technologies are not available in India. So are these players doing JVs and partnership and bringing these technologies in India? That is something which you should definitely look for, and that is the fifth point you should focus on. And last but not the least is export market. There are a lot of opportunities when you want to export and ship the auto ancillary components outside India, and some of these companies have also opened their subsidiaries outside India. So if there is any additional market which they have, where they have expanded and they are actually going deep, that actually brings a very, very powerful combination for all these players. Now, there are a lot of other videos on our channel which we have done, but by the way, if you don't know me, I am Vivek Mashrani. I call myself as a TechnoFunda Investing specialist. I master the art of blending technical analysis with fundamental analysis, and there are tons of videos which are made in this channel which has multiple sector analysis, how to actually pick up strong stocks, and today I'm going to actually decode in front of you how to pick strong stocks in a particular sector. So because this entire space of auto and auto ancillary is very, very strong, I'll show you how to pick up these stocks, and there is a detailed video also which I've made on the channel, so you can just type Vivek Mashrani how to buy strong stocks and you will be able to find this video. And as I said earlier, we have also done a video on premiumization, where you will be able to learn about a lot of other sectors than automobile, which are actually getting benefited from premiumization. What are the stocks and companies? So you can just search with Vivek Mashrani premiumization. And there is one more big mega trend that is happening in front of our eyes, that is on AI. So there are a lot of data center related stocks which can benefit out of the AI theme. So if you're not yet checked out my video which is on data center theme, please make sure you do that. Yeah. So let's now try to understand what are the companies which are getting benefited from this sector growth into uh, the entire auto ancillary space, and let's deep dive into a couple of companies. So the first company, if you see in this space, is Subros, which is getting benefited from multiple triggers. What are the triggers here? So the triggers are first, it is getting benefited due to uh, truck mandate as a primary catalyst, and their revenue is actually accelerating. Second, they are actually expanding their uh, footprint across EV and hybrid and CNG, and that is actually expected to grow very fast. And even the government truck AC mandate which has been given, that is benefiting this company. And finally, they have been doing more and more partnerships on EV SOPs with Maruti and Mahindra, and they are ramping up very quickly. So if you see the technical side of this stock, uh, let's go to Subros first. If you see, Subros is actually growing very fast in this space, and even this stock is actually making a new high if you see here. So this is a very interesting play to check it out. The second company which you want to focus is Lumex. So Lumex has been doing the similar playbook. If you see the playbook of Lumex, they have significant content growth, like they've been expanding their kit value, they have been getting big orders, so they have a visibility of more than 1500 crores of orders. They have a future ready growth mix, so clean mobility and EV, everything they are covering, and they are actually future ready in this space. And they are also giving a strategic guidance in terms of a good margin in their business. So if you see the chart of Lumex also, that has been very strong. This is the chart of Lumex. It's making new all-time high. And let me just share the screen with all of you. Yes, so this is the chart of Lumex. And if you see, this is making a new high. It is actually breaking out. First time when this GST announcement was made, that took a acceleration, and even their result was really good. So if you see their last result in May, after that it broke out, and from there it is almost double. Now a lot of people have this notion that, hey, the stock is already doubled, the stock is already all-time high. It was all-time high over here, right? First time in its life it was at 600 rupees. Then they start thinking, hey, this is too expensive, without doing any kind of fundamental research. And that is where they go wrong. You can see clearly that Lumex, despite being a new all-time high at 600, 650 rupees, it doubled from there in less than 4 to 5 months. And if the growth continues, it can even double from here. So the idea is not to get fixated with the price or fixated with the anchoring of this price. Just try to understand what are the future triggers. And if you are part of our TechnoFunda community, we actually have an entire course on business analysis where we actually teach you how to decode earnings growth, how to do business analysis, and how to actually take a right call for understanding the company from its basic. And if you are not part of our community, you can attend our free masterclass. You can go to this link, technofunda.co/webinar, and you can attend the entire masterclass in terms of how to actually see through the growth, how to understand what are the triggers you need to find, and how to use price volume action to your advantage. Yes, so this is how you can go about it. Now, lot of people ask me, like, how do we get to these sectors, like how we are able to identify some of these sectors at a very early stage. Like auto, pretty much, if you see our GST reforms video, we identified that very early on. So we use a tool called ridewinners.com, and ridewinners.com actually gives us a pulse of which sectors are actually trending. So if you see, currently also auto two-wheeler is a trending sector. If you see, auto trucks and passenger vehicle is also a trending sector. Currently, even the metal sector is a trending sector. And even the OEM supplier, we have been getting signal for so many weeks before we saw this kind of price volume action, right? So all these things moves happened later, but because we were tracking directly from price volume action, we were getting a lot of these sectors very early on. In fact, even in the month of August, some of these sectors started coming in our screen, and we started seriously analyzing these companies. So that is how we go about dissecting these sectors, and all of you can also do that. Now, coming to the next company, let's go to the next company, which is out here, is called FIAM Industry. So FIAM Industry has been one of the top companies in the auto ancillary space, and they have been again, focusing on two-wheeler OEM, and they are also acquiring new four-wheeler customers. They are also getting benefited from the technology shift and the LED lighting system which is there. And because of that, again, the playbook of increasing the kit value they are able to do. And they are also increasing their capabilities in terms of electronic led manufacturing things. And this is again EV agnostic. So even if EV car comes in and they disrupt the entire internal combustion engine, this is not going anywhere. So this is like very robust overall. And then one of the strongest player which I know in this sector, one of my favorite companies is Unominda. So they've been confident of a double-digit growth. They are actually increasing more and more advanced technology in their business offerings. They are actually commercially ready in a lot of things related to EV, and they are doing a lot of capex on EV side. They are doing a lot of JVs, and they are constantly increasing the kit value which they are giving to their consumers. And this stock again has been very, very strong. It has been like a consistent compounder. So in last 5 years alone, this stock has become like from 160 rupees to almost like a 1200 rupees. It has been more than 7-8 times in last just 5 years, and continues to grow further. Even FIAM industry, if you see, that has been like a consistent compounder. So in last 5 years, it has also become like a 7-8x. And even if you see OEMs like Maruti, because of the GST trigger, even though it was an all-time high here, remember, as I said, all-time high doesn't mean it cannot go further. So this is where it was all-time high, from almost 13,000 rupees. In no time, it has gone to 16,000, and they are still seeing a strong order book due to GST reforms, and they have seen some crazy, uh, you know, bookings in their first initial few days itself. So this is a very interesting space, guys, to track in. And if you're not tracking it, please do so. And yeah, that is it for today's session on Auto Ancillary. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you're not watched other sector analysis video, please check it out. There are a lot of powerful videos, including how to pick stocks, GST reforms video. There is a video on data center. There is a video on premiumization. There is a video on how to actually do IPO analysis. There is a video on EMS sector. There is a video on renewable sector energy. If you want to learn about some of the agricultural manufacturing stocks, if you want to understand water treatment stocks, there are tons and tons of videos which are out there. So please make sure you make best use of it. You keep learning inside this community. And yes, if you have not yet downloaded this PPT, you can go to this QR code, download this presentation so that you can keep it for reference, and you can study it further. Again, do your own due diligence. These are not recommendations. These are ideas for you to further explore and understand what are the growth triggers out here, so that you can become a better investor. With this, thank you so much again. Keep compounding, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.